has been working in aquaculture industry for 15 years. Used to work in Tongwei Group, which is top 3 company in China, for 8 years as feed formulator. He is technical director of Shandong Lachance Group, and he has published 6 papers. And please welcome Dr. Zhang Wei to share the topic, application of bile acid in the low fish meal diet of shrimp. Dr. Zhang, now is your time.
Okay. Can you open my video?
So, yeah, okay. Give me a minute. Okay, now?
Okay.
Okay.
I will share my screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Today, the topic of my speech is application of bile acid in the low fish meal diet of shrimp. The speech divided into 3 parts. The first part is reason and problem of fish meal substitution. This is why bile acid are added to reduce some of the negative effects of post replacement. The second part is the mechanism of bile acid. In this part, we will know what is bile acid and how does it work in animal body. The third part is study on bile acid in low fish meal diet of shrimp. In this part, we will learn more about the benefit of adding bile acid to shrimp in low fish meal diet. Let's get to the topic. The first part is reason and the problems of fish meal substitution. Fish meal is an important animal protein raw material in shrimp feed. It has many advantages, such as providing high quality protein, balanced amino acid, low anti-nutritional factors, high micronutrients, high health, high digestibility. Estimated global use of fish meal within compound aqua feed. A quarter of fish meal is consumed in shrimp feed. With the growth of shrimp feed, the demand for fish meal will further increase. In recent years, global fish meal production has declined from 5.6 million tons at the peak to less than 4 million tons, has dropped 33%. However, the whole trend of fish price is rising due to the decline of global fishery resource and growth in aquaculture increase demand for fish meal. Rising fish meal price lead to high feed cost. How to effectively deal with this situation? Therefore, we must reduce the amount of fish meal used in feed, thereby reducing the dependence on fish meal and the cost of formulation. Traditional fish meal replacement method is using the other protein source and supplementation with limited amino acid. Diets must be developed based on substitutability, and plant protein source could replace the amino meals, especially fish meal. This plant protein include soybean meal, cottonseed meal, corn protein, canola meal, and so on. In the future, the proportion of plant protein in feed formulation will increase from 53% to 69%, while fish meal will decrease from 31% to 10%. What problems with the fish meal substitution? Take soybean as an example. Soybean is an important source of plant protein for human and animals. It contains 20 to 25% oil and 40 to 48% protein. It's rich in vitamins, trace elements, and balanced in amino acid. However, soybean contains various anti-nutritional factors, such as protease inhibitors, lactins, and phytic acid, which can reduce the palatability and hinder the absorption of nutrition. Plant lactins can destroy the IgA produced in the intestinal, which damage the immune system and reduce immunity of the animal body. There is a lot of researchers on fish meal substitution, but the substitution is not a simple matter, and there are many factors and need to consider. Therefore, a comprehensive replacement strategy for fish meal is urgent needed. What are the negative problems of fish meal substitution? First, metabolism of various nutrients are suppressed in shrimp feed. Feed is a low fish meal diet. Glucose, triglyceride, and total bile acid metabolism showed a significant downward trend. Second, immune response was suppressed in shrimp feed, the low fish meal diet. With the increase of fish meal replacement amount, the region of hepatopancreas and intestinal tract aggravated, and the health index decreased significantly. Third, induced enteritis, such as increased expression TNF-alpha, destruct tight junction protein, increase intercellular space, and makes the gut lose its barrier function, shorten of intestinal villi and thin of the intestinal wall. Exactly mechanism is not clear, but TNFR is associated to MLCK. So do we have a feed active which could improve the lipid metabolism, immune response, and reduce intolerance of shrimp? The answer is to add bile acid to the feed. Bile acid plays an important role in digestion and absorption. It can serve as a critical single molecule in regulate immune response. It's also a major regulator of the gut microbiome. Dietary fish meal alternative often disturb the bile acid status in fish, result in either increased or decreased intestinal response and bile acid synthesis. It may be migrated by processing of fish meal alternative as well as the dietary inclusion of some bile acid. Although bile acid is traditionally regarded as unsynthetic in crustacean, A few recent studies has revealed the critical role of bile acid in the diet of shrimp. What's the bile acid? It's produced in liver with the action of 7-alpha hydroxylase, which with cholesterol is used as a raw material, which can regulate the metabolism of glucose and lipids, protect the liver, and regulate the balance of intestinal flora. Bile acid, which widely used in the treatment of human liver metabolic disease. How does bile acid work? Promoting fat digestion and absorption is the basic function of bile acid. This process is divided into 3 stages: emulsification, digestion, and absorption. In the emulsification stage, bile acid contains lipophilic group, which can emulsify large fat particles into small fat droplets. In the digestion stage, bile acid can increase the activity of lipids, change the spatial structure of lipids, expose the catalytic group, and decompose fat into monoglyceride and free fat acid. In the absorption stage, acid can and free fat acid form mixed many cells that are recognized by the villi of the small intestine and into the intestine lumen. Then free fat acid, protein, and triglycerides form chylomicrons and into the blood circulation to complete the entire process of fat absorption. In recent years, studies have shown that bile acid also play a role in maintaining intestinal barrier function. Bile acid as TGR5 receptor can activate intestinal stem cell and promote the differentiation into intestinal villi cell. Stem cell maintains homeostatic renewal, injury-induced regeneration. We can summarize the function of bile acid: lipid digestion, absorption of fat-soluble nutrients, regulation of cholesterol level, and gut microbiota. Through the study bile acid in shrimp, raw fish meal diet, we can understand the role of bile acid in diet. Also nutrients and isolipidic diet were formulated in this study. A positive control diet with 25% fish meal, a negative control diet with 15 fish meal, and 15% fish meal diet supplemented with bile acid. Fish meal was replaced by soy protein concentrate in this study. Raw fish meal diet were supplemented with micro nutrients such as amino acid, vitamin, and materials to obtain a similar nutrition profile to high fish meal. Bile acid purity 98% was provided by Shandong Longchang Animal Health Products Company Limited, Jinnan, China. Formulation and approximate analysis of these stats were present in left table. Shrimp and experiment condition, the average intestinal weight of shrimp is 0.3 gram for receptors per treatment, feed 3 times a day. The breeding cycle is 8 weeks. The water quality is the most suitable for shrimp. Let me see the result. The final body weight, WG and FE, were higher in shrimp fed the diet high fish meal than those fed the diet low fish meal, and there was no difference between shrimp fed the diet low fish meal with acid. Survival of shrimp was similar among the 3 groups. Previous research relieved the plant protein often disturb the acid status and reduce fish productivity. Anti-nutritional factors and high molecular protein are believed to contribute to it. This situation could be mitigated by the dietary inclusion of some acid. It was shown that supplementation of acid to the low fish meal that promotes the growth of shrimp. Low fish meal suppressed the pancreas mRNA level of SOD and inhibitor of apoptosis protein. Dietary supplementation of acid in a low fish meal diet enhanced the expression of SOD, CAT, and relish in hepatopancreas. Even so, higher CAT expression compared to shrimp fed diet high fish meal. There are no difference in the expression of Xbox binding protein 1 and capsid among the 3 group. Intestinal immune response. Shrimp fed the diet low fish meal showed higher XBP1 expression compared to those fed diet high fish meal. Dietary supplementation of acid in a low fish meal diet enhanced the expression of SOD, CAT, and relish in the midgut. The mRNA level of SOD and the CAT were higher and the turbo was lower in shrimp fed the diet low fish meal with acid compared to the shrimp fed the diet high fish meal. There are no difference in the expression of ERK among the 3 groups. Dietary acid supplementation upregulated the SOD and the CAT expression in the hepatopancreas and the intestinal, which indicated that acid supplementation enhanced the antioxidative ability of.
I think just now we have one question. Maybe I take this time to explain to doctor. Let me check the questions for the wet feces. So from Dr. Mastan, he has one question: what's the solution for wet feces? In my opinion, there is 4 reasons for the wet feces. If I'm not wrong, this is for the shrimp, right? Okay, 4 reasons. The first, algae crash. You know, once algae crash, then they will produce a toxin into the release toxin into the water. Okay, once your shrimp take such kind of toxin, will damage entire absolute cells from hepatopancreas and also the intestine, will cause wet feces syndrome. Okay, the second is based on our chief expert in China, Crustacean Association of China. He recently he has conducted one project on the raw material. Based on his research, there is 2 kinds of fatty acid. Okay, these 2 kinds of fatty acid, once your shrimp take such kinds of fatty acid, will cause the the disorder of the microbe in the intestine. Then finally will cause the wet feces. Hopefully, we will see this paper soon. Okay, you can pay attention and search. Of course, you know the weather change, the stress also will affect the shrimp. Okay, so later I explain the rest too. Dr. Zhang.
Okay, sorry, just
okay.
a little thought.
Okay, it's okay. So take your time. So the third is for the Vibrio, and EHP also will cause wet feces syndrome. Okay, Dr. Zhang, I pass to you. So
okay,
please go ahead. Yes.
I will. Okay, everything is okay. Intestinal immune response. Shrimp feed the diet low. Fish meal show the higher XPP1 expression compared to the zoos feed diet high fish meal. Dietary supplementation of bile acid in a low fish meal diet enhanced the expression of SOD, CAT, and relish in the midgut. The mRNA levels of SOD and CAT were higher, and tuber was lower in shrimp fed the diet low fish meal with bile acid compared to shrimp fed the diet high fish meal. There was no difference in the expression of ERK among the 3 groups. Dietary bile acid supplementation upregulates the SOD and the CAT expression in the hepatopancreas and intestinal, which include that the bile acid supplementation enhanced the anti-oxidative ability of shrimp. Dietary supplementation of bile acid in low fish meal diet reduced the ER stress in this study. Okay, hepatopancreas and intestinal histology. B cell was similar and R cell was fewer in shrimp fed low fish meal with bile acid compared with shrimp fed the other diets. Intestinal flows hair was shorter in shrimp fed the diet low fish meal compared to those fed the diet high fish meal and low fish meal with bile acid. TME analysis demonstrated that the midgut suffer more serious danger in shrimp fed the diet low fish meal, especially for ER, which was obviously swollen. The ER was back to the house after dietary supplementation with bile acid. Hepatopancreas B cell is the secretory cell, and the R cell is for storing nutrients. Fewer R cell in the hepatopancreas of shrimp feed raw fish meal with bile acid indicated that nutrient storage was decreased. Nutrients may be fully mobilized to support the max growth of shrimp. The raw intestinal fold, hair and swollen ER indicated the shrimp feed the diet raw fish meal showed obvious intestinal damage in this study. The damage of the made gut would affect the digestion and absorption of nutrients and may be the main cause of the compressed growth performance. This result was similar as previous study, all proved that the high dietary plant protein inclusion would impair the intestinal health of shrimp and fish. Dietary supplementation of bile acid can reduce the mid-gut damage in this study. Now, let me see the intestinal microbiome. As shown, the Shannon index was here in shrimp fed diet high fish meal and low fish meal with bile acid than those fed the diet low fish meal. And the Simpson index was lower in shrimp fed diet high fish meal and low fish meal with bile acid than those fed the diet low fish meal, which indicated the lower bacterial diversity in group low fish meal. Dietary supplementation of bile acid in a low fish meal diet increased the community richness, such as CHO1 and ACE of shrimp. There are no difference in odors, numbers, and coverage among the three groups. Anyway, undesirable intestinal microbiome communities are induced by high plant protein. Let me see this part. The analysis of PCOA showed that the first two principal compounds explained 45.9% of the variation, and there was clear separation between the three groups. The relative abundance of gut microbiome in each group at the phylum level is shown in Figure C. The dominant phylum in three groups was proteobacteria, bacterial additives, cyanobacteria, and actinobacteria. The relative abundance of proteinobacteria was exceeded 80% in all groups. The relative abundance of gut microbiome at the genus level is shown in Figure D. The dominant genus in three groups were Vibrio, Regeria, Sima, and the Halosyncytiobacter. A notable microbiome feature of shrimp fed diet low fish meal is the higher Vibrio abundance, more than 60%. Vibrio is a kind of typical harmful genera. The present result indicates a high Vibrio abundance may associated with the intestinal inflammation induced by plant protein. Dietary supplementation of bile acid may reduce intestinal damage by reduce the abundance of Vibrio. Regeria is involved in protein utilization. The higher urea abundance may associate with the growth promoting effect of bile acid. It's also regarded as a kind of probiotic in shrimp. The higher abundance of urea in shrimp feed diet, raw fish meal with bile acid may be beneficial to the intestinal health of shrimp. As shown in figure, dietary supplementation of bile acid in raw fish meal diet significantly decreased the relative abundance of proteobacteria. Dietary with bile acid supplementation also increased the relative abundance of data bacteria. Besides the relative abundance, cyanobacteria, data bacteria was higher in shrimp feed the diet low fish meal with bile acid compared to shrimp feed the diet high fish meal. Significantly, feature of top 15 genera were analyzed in this study. As shown in figure, 17 genera were significantly affected by diet treatment. 14 of them belonged to proteobacteria. 3 of them belong to cyano.
Okay, I think his internet got some problem again. So let me explain more about wet feces diseases. From last October until now in the East Asia, it's very serious. Of course, in India also very common. So the 4 reasons, the first is the Vibrio, the second is the EHP. Okay, Dr. Zhang.
Hey, sorry, I'm out online.
Yeah,
but
please.
I'm in.
Okay, please go ahead.
Sorry.
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay. Let me see this part. 14 of them belong to proteobacteria. 3 of them belong to cyanobacteria. This relative abundance of Vibrio was here in shrimp feed the diet low fish meal. Then those feed high fish meal and low fish meal with bile acid. The relative abundance of urea was lower in shrimp feed the diet low fish meal than those feed low fish meal with bile acid. This results indicate that low dietary fish meal level increased the harmful bacteria genera risk and decreased the microbiota diversity. Dietary supplementation of bile acid could decrease the harmful bacteria abundance and improve the microbiota diversity. Okay, let me say that this part, the bile acid are receptors of TGR5 and FXR, which can inhibit the NF-kappa B single pathway, thereby reduce the expression of pro-inflammatory factors in intestinal cell, thereby inhibiting enteritis and maintaining the function of intestinal barrier. Conclusion, low dietary fish meal, 15% decreased the weight gain, impaired the immune ability, induced the intestinal damage, and disturbed the intestinal microbiota of vitamin. Dietary supplementation of 0 0.1% bile acid in raw fish meal that can enhance the antioxidative ability, reduce the ER stress, improve the microbiota diversity, and decrease the harmful bacterial abundance of vitamin. Many studies shows that bile acid is also good for fish and benefit the growth, lipid metabolism, and composition of gut microbiota, but dependent on fish species, bile acid level. Our partner are located in more than 40 countries around the world. Our company is committed to creating wealth for 6,000 feed companies and 10 million farmers. Looking forward to cooperating with you sincerely. Thank you. That's all.
Dr. Zhang, thanks for your presentation. Yeah,
Okay.
I think our audience has learned a lot of information on bile acid and the application, because the bile acid is quite new to the aquaculture industry, I'm sure, as the innovative feed additive. Of course, glad to see Lachance has done plenty of basic research on bile acid. Yeah. You shared the improve the immunity, the correlation between bile acid and microbiota. I think you answered one of the question already. Of course, just now you mentioned bile acid also can prevent or control the inflammation of intestine. Okay, that's good. I think later Prof. or Jintasatapong also will share some knowledge on inheritors of shrimp. Okay, so a few questions for you. Okay. The first is how does bile acid help regulate the gut microbiota? I think you answer already, because through your presentation I saw that slide. Okay, so the second is how much bile acid should be added in the shrimp feed? What's the dosage? Let's say per times, how many grams or how many kilos, please? 就是添加量。我们再对一下上的。
We recommend the addition amount of 800 to 1,000 grams per ton, which will be adjusted according to different breeding stage.
Okay, so that means 800 grams to 1 kilogram per ton.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I see. Move to the second question. What's the benefit of bile acid? Maybe you give us some summary, because you present a lot of information on bile acid. Yeah.
Yeah. Bile acid can improve fat utilization and reduce 0.02 to 0.05 FCR, reduce the stress price and the occurrence of disease, thereby increase the survival rate by 5 to 9%, and and increase weight gain, great benefit for feed mill and farmers.
Okay. That's great. 5 to 8%, 5 to 9% is quite a lot.
Yeah.